races.
Susan, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have a U.S. Senate race at the top of your ticket, Tim Kaine and Corey Stewart. However, there are a number of congressional races that are probably getting even more attention than the U.S. Senate seat. What do you see on the ground now from the Democratic side about how you've been able to mount these challenges to the Republicans that you're going up against?
We have incredible congressional candidates. We have 6 women and running for these congressional seats, and they come from all sorts of public service community minded, and there's an incredible amount of enthusiasm and excitement for each and every one of them.
And I want to talk about that. Was that a concerted, obviously all of these candidates went through primaries, but when you look at the slate of female candidates on the Virginia side, was that by design? Or did these female candidates simply get up and decide, I'm running?
Much like the female candidates that contributed to the 15th House pickup in 2017 in Virginia, these were women who just said, I've had enough. I'm going to run. It's my term. I've got something to offer.
Dirk, I've heard reported over and over and over again, and sometimes I've seen it with my own eyes when we went by these places. Early voting in Maryland appeared to be off the charts this year. What does that tell you about the electorate and how engaged they are in this midterm race?
So we've run, the Democrats, by their own admission, say they need 57% turnout in order to achieve their goals. We've run our turnout numbers on 57%, and if you bake in the 250,000 more Democrats who voted early, they would still need another 50,000 brand new voters to show up at the polls on Election Day just to get to their 57%. And that would assume that all 250,000 additional voters were brand new voters, meaning they hadn't voted in the 2014 election, and about 80% of those folks actually had voted in the 2014 election. So, I mean, it's a higher turnout. You know, Republicans turned out almost double as well. So it's more people are voting early.
Susan, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, they don't have early voting, but what they call in-person absentee voting. And I got to look at some of that with my own eyes in Fairfax County this week, where they're on pace to set a record right now. So how do you see that translates, and what does that tell you about how into this midterm election the voters are?
Absolutely. I mean, it is doubling what the last midterms were, and even going further than last year in the gubernatorial race. So it just shows, I think a lot of them are young people. It shows the intensity. People want to make sure that they get out and that their vote counts. And it's not only just in Fairfax and Loudoun, but it's downstate too.
One of the criticisms that people have leveled against Democrats in this year is the question of message. Whether or not the only message is an anti-Trump message.
Absolutely.
Tackle that for me.
Absolutely not. I would say Tim Kaine, who is leading our ticket, has a message of being positive and hope, and particularly he and all of our candidates are out there saying we want to bring our country together, we want to cut down on the divisiveness and the partisan divide, but also we want to save health care. We want to have affordable health care for everybody. We want to lower the cost of prescription drugs, and we are going to fight to make sure no pre-existing conditions are repealed.
Now, what's interesting about this is, Dirk, while the Democrats have faced some of this criticism that they're only against President Trump, Republicans, depending on where you are, seem to be in a reverse situation. Donald who? It's hard to get some Republicans to talk about Donald Trump. So how have Republicans in Maryland dealt with this? And it's a state that traditionally is a lot more bipartisan than maybe some of the other red states, even though you have a Republican governor right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to separate Donald Trump, the person who tweets, from Donald Trump's policies. I think most Marylanders, other than a base of Democrats who are not going to support any Republican, are very happy with the way things are going in Maryland, and they like the general direction of the not just the state but the country. And so I don't think we're seeing any problems, if you will, based on the direction of how well things are going.
You know, it's clear that the governor has not been on board with a lot of the things the president does. Does that give cover to Republicans who are down ticket from Larry Hogan?
I mean, the governor gives cover to all of our Republican candidates in Maryland, the General Assembly, the county council candidates, the county executive candidates, and we're very grateful that he has, proven to be such a strong governor.
All right. Susan, Dirk, we thank you for coming in on this Sunday right before the midterms, because I think you probably got a lot of work to do in the next 48 hours, so we really do value your time. We thank you for coming in.